I bid you good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. And if you're watching this in Canada, you better wake up to, a lot of people are waking up to this huge article that's being blasted all over. And it's even on social media. People on social media are actually caring about real news. So what is going on here, guys? Canada posts largest job loss since 2009 on full-time drop. I read this article on my channel for you. Not this article. I read many articles before on my channel for you guys discussing the Canadian job boom that they're creating, but it's all private, public sector jobs. And let's look it up here real quick. All private. Here it is. Construction jobs lost, 11,000 cut. Edmonton, job losses. That's Australia. Ford cuts, job losses. So if you've been following robots to replace humans at banks, housing industry reheating up, job losses. Jobs fall Australian down under. Boomers, equity to eat, using their equity in their house. 5,000 real estate job cuts. It just keeps going. But here it is. This is the video I wanted to talk about. Oh, this is the video I want to mention, is Canadian job growth equal dollar surges at what cost? So the job growth, right? Blockbuster job data, Canadian dollar surge the most in more than a month, stronger than expected domestic jobs, but it was all public sector jobs. All jobs that need support from the private sector. And in that article, we lost 20,000 private sector jobs. So let's go back here to see what BNN Bloomberg is saying. Canadian posts largest job loss since 2009 on full-time drop, SA. Woo! Yeah, baby. So that is happening right now. And I think I'm actually live. I forgot to turn off my YouTube live stream. So it looks like I'm live on YouTube too. Let me open my YouTube live stream. Oh man, it's probably, yeah, oh man. Oh no. I'm live on YouTube too. Guys, sorry on YouTube, guys. I'm really sorry that I'm live streaming this on YouTube. I was going to upload it in a few minutes. So anyways, but the comments are rolling right now. There's only 7 people watching, but that's okay. So what about the job reports during the election time? Remember during the election, we had the elections. We had this great debate about public, no, not public. Pipeline, global warming, pipeline, global warming, pipeline, global warming, pipeline. And now here it is. Canada posts the largest job loss since 2009. And private sector. Now, private sector is so important. Canada's job market unexpectedly weakened for the second straight month, registering the biggest drop in employment since 2009 and casting doubt on the resiliency of the domestic outlook. The economy lost 71,200 jobs in September, Statistics Canada said on Friday in Ottawa, following the decline of 1,800 in the prior month. That pairs the total number of jobs added this year to around 285,100. The report missed the median economist forecast to gain 10,000 jobs. The unemployment rate increased to 5.9% in the month from 5.5% in October, the biggest one-month jump since 2009. Remember what happened in 2007, 2008, right? Well, it tripled into 2009, 2010. We didn't see a proper recovery till 2012. The decrease in employment was broad-based among both the goods-producing and the service-producing sectors. Yeah. Goods-producing and service-producing sectors. Private sector. Canada's job report is disappointing, showing that job losses for the second month in a row, said Julia Pollak, labor economist, ZipRecruiter, and online employment marketplace, but observers should remember that the numbers are highly volatile and that this is still the strongest year for job growth in Canada in 17 years. Strongest year of public sector jobs, okay? Public sector jobs. The Canadian currency depreciated on the report, dropping 0.6% to 1.3249 against the U.S. counterpart at 8:40 a.m. in Toronto line. I had a friend, man, I should have jumped on board with him to short the Canadian dollar. I should have shorted the Canadian dollar. Oh my God, I was asleep at the wheel, and I know what's happening too. I'm so out of it. The weakness in November's report contrasts the Bank of Canada's view in the decision this week that the healthy labor market will fuel consumption and remain a source of resilience amid trade tensions. Bull. A question now is whether or not the labor market will continue to cool down from a strong year, or it will reverse course. Some of the losses in the month were in public administration, which saw a pickup from last month due to the election-related hiring. Remember election-related hiring? It goes back to this story I read right here. Canada's job growth dollar surges at what cost? I put at what cost. I said that. Why? Because it was all public sector jobs. And nobody saw this video. It barely has 600 views on it. And that's kind of good that YouTube keep hiding my videos. Don't worry about it. People should have known this from a long time ago, but keep hiding my videos. Wages for permanent employees rose 4.4% on the year, matching the prior month's rate. So we got 1 year of inflation in line for wages increasing. We got 1 year of inflation of the 30 years. Whoop-de-doo. Hours worked slow at 0.2% from a year earlier versus 1.3% in October. Private sector employment was responsible for the majority of the job losses. Let me say that one more time. Private sector employment was responsible for a majority of job losses. Private sector. Once the private sector goes, and you remember that video we were doing on trends in the housing market, where the guy was paying $54,000 a year for an 1,100 square foot little store in uptown Vancouver. Uptown, not even downtown SA. November saw fewer workers of core-aged men and women 55 and over. Yes, guys, this is it, guys. We are starting to see. By the way, Gary Medeiros in the comments, he sent me this at 7 o'clock in the morning. I got this article, and, man, I should have shorted the Canadian dollar. I had a friend that told me, man, he told me a few days ago to short the dollar. I don't know, man. I was busy at the store with Christmas sales and, just been busy at the store. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to throw this out there, guys, real quick. I'm sorry I went live on this. Guys, so quick like that. I should have. Well, we got Steve right now. Steve wants to get a call into the show. Yeah, Steve wants to call into the show. Okay, let me open my Skype here. Let's get Steve the plumber on the show and tell us what is going on in his opinion. Let me call him right now.
Hello.
Steve, what's up, buddy?
Oh, 6'1". A whole lot. It's a great day today, Mike.
Are you there, Steve?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Okay, so what is going on? We know what's going on. I got this article at 7 o'clock in the morning from Gary Medeiros. Sent me this article, and I was like, yep, this is the first thing I'm going to read. And I got to get this story out there as soon as possible. But you know what? This is a huge problem, because if you go back, remember, Steve, if you go back a month during the elections 2 months ago, I was talking about the Canadian job growth dollar surges at what cost. And I was discussing basically how they're all public sector jobs. And they were talking about these huge yields and blockbuster jobs data. Canadian dollar's doing great, stronger than expected. Now look where we are now, that the private sector is pretty much falling off the map. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, it was. Even the guests on BNN. And before I get started, Gary's been all over this all morning. I've been speaking with Gary and whatnot, and I appreciate him reaching out to me and letting me know this, because I just went through a brutal move myself, so I've been kind of hit and miss on being up to staying up to speed. But that's what your friends are for. But anyhow, nevertheless. Even the economist on BNN, there was one there, and they try to spin it, and then they're just like, I can't possibly agree with the proposed bullshit that was about to come out of my mouth. So I'm rather not going to do that and just say that this is probably going to be very bad. There was, things aren't good. And this is right from Gary Medeiros. He sent me some Julia, she's from ZipRecruiter. Yeah, Julia Pollak, Pollack. I think I pronounced that right, from ZipRecruiter. Tried to put a spin on it. It was actually laughable. He said, it's okay. Don't worry about that. We're still ahead 17 years later. We still have this, the strongest job growth, yada, yada. 17 years later. That's all you have, lady? You know what? This is so bad, Mike. Are you still with me?
I'm looking up her right now. ZipRecruiter jobs.
Yeah, Gary Medeiros said it was a text or a picture or something. I'm not sure what it was. If Gary's still there, you should definitely go ahead and confirm or deny that. But yeah.
Okay, here it is. I got it right here on Twitter. Here it is. Canada's jobs report out today shows job losses for the second month in a row. But with such a volatile report, it really helps to look at the longer-term trend. We are looking at the longer term. It's been all public sector crap. 2019 is still an unusually strong year for job growth at 4.5%. Is another reason to celebrate. Okay. They don't understand that remember when I was doing trends in the housing market, that guy was paying $50,000 to $55,000 a year for property tax for a small hovel that could only hire maybe 3 people?
That's right.
Well, when you have 1,000 locations like that, and you subtract 3 people per location, that's 30,000 jobs.
That's right.
Right? So when you start doing stuff like that, no, that's 9,000 jobs, but I'm sorry, I'm out of it right now, but I'm just saying, realistically, we're not going anywhere. People can't afford. It's the private sector that keeps the country afloat. Without the private sector, public sector ceases to exist unless they turn into a socialist cesspool of something. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's easily put. Recruiters are real estate agents of the employment world. They have to put a spin on it, because if nobody's hiring and people are losing jobs, they don't eat. They're all commission draw based, from what I've been told. If you're worth anything in that industry.
Well, we got other news right here. We got
Stephen Pollak is stepping down.
Yeah, I had that up here. Where the heck did it go? Okay, here it is. I'm just trying to open this without flashing other windows open here. All right, here we go.
And we welcome you back to BNN Bloomberg. We've been covering
this guy. Okay, so Stephen Pollak. It's not opening the. Here it is. Here it is. Key insights. So, economy lost 71,200 jobs in November, StatsCan said on Friday in Ottawa, following a decline of 1,800 in the prior month. That pairs to a total number of jobs added this year, 285,000. But again, a majority of that was public sector jobs, right? The report missed the median economist forecast a gain of 10,000 jobs. The unemployment rate increased 5.9% in the month of 5.5% in October, with the biggest one-month jump in 2009. The decrease in employment was broad-based among both goods producing and service producing. Again, goods producing and service producing is private sector. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is I want you to repeat that job loss number just one more time. Just that number.
71,200 jobs in November, and that's probably all private sector, because public sector jobs dare not shed any jobs to add to that.
But you're missing the point. 71,000, and nobody's going to come out and say, "Oh, it's part-time jobs." They actually explicitly say they said full-time. Okay,
yes.
Full-time jobs, ladies and gentlemen, full-time jobs. They stimulate the economy. They buy houses. They buy cars. Okay, right. People that work at Tim Hortons, generally
consumer spending.
They do not own property.
Yep. So we got the everyone live. We're live on 7 platforms right now, guys. If you want to join us, we're on Mixer, we're on Nemo TV, we're on DLive, we're on Periscope, and we're on Twitch. So if I end up getting hacked, Steve, you already subscribed to me. I noticed you subscribed to me on BitTubers too.
I absolutely did, sweetheart.
Good, because I noticed that. I'm like, good, Steve's on here, and then we can start streaming off BitTubers. I pay. I have to pay for it though. I have to pay for BitTubers every month, but it allows me to stream and exactly run a YouTube platform. But here's the deal: have you noticed on my videos on there, they actually are getting views with no subscribers?
Absolutely.
That's weird, eh? I get 11,400 subscribers on YouTube, and I get my views. I can't even get over 100 views.
Yeah. You want to know another thing I just noticed?
What is that?
The Raven has joined the conversation. That's what's up.
Yeah. So this is a big one, guys. This is the big one, Elizabeth. So, okay, Canada. So, now Pelosi's stepping down. Bank of Canada's view in the report decision this week with a healthy labor market will fuel consumption and remain the source of resilience amid trade tensions. It won't. They're hoping that the strong labor market or the private sector jobs will help fuel and get people to reinvest into basically consuming food or whatever. Now, what's going to happen? Unemployment rates shooting up. What's going to happen? And what about the people, Steve? What about the people that got jobs lost that were working under the table? They don't even get those. They don't get part timers. They don't get a lot of stuff in this equation.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is Stats Canada is not very accurate. This is only probably about, I'm going to say, 75% of the picture. Maybe 80% of the picture. There's a lot of things that StatCan doesn't pick up. This job report is basically, at a glance with 20,000 feet, gives an overall consensus of where things are at in terms of the job market and naturally the economy. It's the same thing with, housing and whatnot. But yeah, they can say everything is great, and then all of a sudden, boom, this is the situation. And, right before Christmas, it sucks. But doing it after Christmas sucks even more because people think they have jobs, they go out and spend, and then all of a sudden they can't pay back their credit card. That's even worse. So, they can put a spin on it however which way they want. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. You know who Don Cherry is, right, Mike?
Of course I know Don Cherry. I grew up watching him on Coach's Corner. I watched him with my dad.
Awesome. So, I'm reminded of him when he said something years ago, and it's one of those things where, he was asked a question, and it was basically, the answer to it. And his rebuttal was to it, if my aunt had nuts or testicles, she'd be my uncle. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's black and white. Stop trying to massage and maneuver the numbers. Okay.
It doesn't work because we're just going to start to see it in our infrastructure when things don't get fixed and they stop picking up our garbage and we're still paying taxes through the nose. Then we're going to start to see, how society as a whole will start crumbling because we're paying so much for our health. We're paying so much. When people say we have free healthcare, I laugh. And you know what I'm saying, right, Steve? So here's
absolutely.
Another article here, and Global News is trying to massage it over here by saying that overall, though, the year-to-date jobs for 2019 remains positive, with the economy adding 26,000 new jobs between January and November. Here's the problem. Those were all public sector jobs, Steve. It doesn't really matter. And another silver lining comes with wage data showed 4.5% increase year over year. 4.5%. That's the first friggin' time that they're in line with inflation in 30 years. Big whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. You know what? There's so many other stories that are going to tie into this. And, Mike, I'm not sure if you heard, but over the next 3 or is it 5 years, the city of Toronto, the mayor wants to increase property taxes by 10.5%.
Oh, he has to, Steve. Remember what I was talking about this for 2 years now, not 2 weeks. 2 years. How are these cities gonna flip the bill or flip their deficits? Remember, Steve? We're not just talking about this today. We've been talking about this for years. And I asked you how. And I asked you 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. I asked you the same question. How are these cities gonna flip their deficits when there's a mass exodus of people that can't afford to live in their own goddamn cities?
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. I really wish the Raven was on the line because he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes down to all of this. But yeah, it's crazy, Mike. we can go around in circles, but and we could talk about the same thing over and over again, but it's not going to change. And anybody that thinks that this job report is just going to be, a little hump, and then, all of a sudden the next job report, we're going to be, all fine and dandy. That's not the case. And, there's been comments on other channels, especially on BNN Bloomberg, where Baseline came on and he's just like, oh, yeah, don't worry, interest rates are going to drop, and that's going to save this, and that's
No, it's not.
That.
No, it's not.
Those types of people, okay, are what's really, really the issue. They need to wake up, and they need to stop doing this to themselves, because they're going to be seriously injured here if they think a rate cut of a quarter basis point or even half a basis point, because you can't go much lower, is going to do anything.
Well, we're taking away the aggregation of severity, right? If we were doing good all those times, rates should have been gradually increasing every quarter or every 2 quarters. Rates should have been increasing so that now we could back it down and have a little bit of aggregation and a little bit of room to work with. But we never gave ourselves that room because we kept dropping rates over and over.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Supreme Cannon is in the house.
Well, we got Jordan Retro right now saying Montreal increases tax rate. What was it? Where did I see? 4.5% for housing.
Yeah, and then Richa De Silva, Toronto tax raising 10.5%. Yeah, so that's going to be phased in over the next 3 to 5 years. I think it's 5 years, because if it's 3, that's just going to choke everybody to the point of no return. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not good. That's definitely going to be a direct result in declining house property values. When you have that much, right now, Toronto, and you can look this up, Mike, Toronto has the lowest property tax in Canada, or one of the lowest property taxes in Canada. It's like 0.6 something.
Oh, it's got to go at least to 2 now.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to see what happens. And then Windsor's 1.8.
Yeah, it's got to be about 1.5 to 2. You know why? Because the people that actually paid these taxes and actually contributed to the infrastructure, like my dad, my granddad, like the people that came to Canada to build this infrastructure, they're no longer investing back into the infrastructure, Steve. And the people, the working poor, the middle class that has exited these big cities are no longer contributing to those cities anymore, and no longer paying taxes in those cities, and no longer consuming in those cities, and they're gone. And then now with the job reports coming out, it's hectic. I got a lot of friends that own companies in Vancouver proper, and they have to shut down because they just can't hire anybody, because they can't afford to live in those areas. And look what's happened. These cities are going to turn into empty shells unless we do what Paris did, where they raised the vacant home tax to 60%.
Yeah, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to hail a cab. You're not going to be able to call a plumber or an electrician. You're not going to be able, like school teachers aren't going to commute 2 or 3 hours. It's one of those things where, I would say about 85% people are really truly what they want is, or maybe 80%, give or take, they want to live where they work, or work where they live. And it's one of those things where that's not happening in the Greater Toronto area. It's not happening in Vancouver. It really isn't, because I'm sorry, you don't make enough money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We don't make enough money, and that's the problem. So, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting sight to see what's going to happen in the first quarter. Now, Steve, okay, one question, okay? I'm going to see if I can get the Raven on the show, but I want to ask you one last question. Could Santa save Canada, or is consumer confidence finished now with this report coming out just before Christmas?
Well, I think we have a situation where people have already started to buy. They probably took advantage of the Black Friday sales to a certain degree. But I think consumer confidence was low enough to probably put a damper on retail sales as a whole, but we'll get those numbers, eventually. But to answer your question, I don't know how many people are going to, I guess it really depends on how public this goes, right? How many people, turned on and, watched BNN today, or watched, for example, CP24 in the Greater Toronto area, where they had Patty Levitt-Reid on and discussed his job reports and everything else. And keep in mind, that is literally a one or 2 minute segment. So it can be missed by many, many people.
Oh,
so,
it's got to be a 1 or 2 minute segment. It can't be. They gotta reserve time for people pouring gravy down their pants.
Well, I mean, it has no choice but to affect the overall consumer confidence. But I mean, let's face it, consumer confidence had to have naturally gone out the window because you don't just lose more than 71,000 jobs with an anticipation of adding 10,000, but you lost 71,000. Those are a lot of jobs, and you can do the math, and the judge and the jury is out on that, on what 71,000 jobs correlates in terms of the actual balloon effect or the ricochet effect.
The ricochet effect, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say, for argument's sake, for the purpose of this conversation, it's going to affect 5 times
right
the amount.
Oh, you're being very conservative with that. This should be maybe 9.
Well, I'm again, for the purpose of this conversation, Mike. I don't want anybody to jump out of their stand or jump in front of a train or anything else like that. It's not worth it, because then someone has to clean up after you.
Yeah.
But hey, that could be a job, Mike. But excuse my sense of humor this morning. But in any event, this is the situation. This is where it's at. I don't see how it couldn't affect it. What's your opinion?
Well, I already said it's basically this, Steve. They've been lying. They lied during the whole, what really ate me up inside was when they were propping up, again, we'll go back to the video that I did 2 months ago, Canadian job growth equal dollar surges and then I said, at what cost? At what cost? Here's the cost right now, today. Why? Because they were public sector jobs. They created 40,000 jobs on the books, and they failed to mention that they lost 10,000 private sector jobs. But we made that up in public sector jobs. And now again, we go back to the phrase here, the important phrase right here. Employment was broad-based among the both the goods-producing and service-producing sectors. There you go. The most important sectors that keep our public sector afloat, pay our teachers, pay our doctors, pay our garbage men, our mailmen, and yes, that's my response to that. I'm very disappointed that people did not see this. I'm very disappointed that during our political debates in Canada, all we talked about was pipeline and global warming. And what's global warming going to do? What are you going to do if you save global warming? What's the point when you have to live outside in a cardboard box?
Yeah, I know. Oh, Mike.
All right, let me get the Raven here. I'm going to get the Raven on the show. I saw you messaging him. Let me get him on the show and get his opinion on this, okay?
Absolutely. Talk soon. Good to be with you.
God bless you. Bye. So that's Stevie. He's been calling me steady. And I said, Steve, I'm trying to make a video here. He's like, okay. Where's the Raven? Where are you, Raven? Where the hell are you, Raven? Oh, here we go. We got Raven here. Let's see if he's alive and well. I know he's alive and well because I saw him in the comments.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I think we should have we should debate, we should have a political debate for 4 hours long and talk about global warming and not talk about our jobs, not talk about our opioid crisis, not talk about our affordability levels. Now it's coming to bite us in the butt. So give me your opinion. What do you think, buddy?
Global warming?
No, not global warming. Job losses. That was the number one issue during our political.
Mike?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
remember China, how they skew their numbers? Everything's a lie.
right.
That goes right around the globe. That's right around the globe. Canada, we're liars too. We got 108 people at my company sitting at home on a retention board, not working. They're not working. They're getting paid $1,800. I think it's every 2 weeks. They're getting $1,800 just to stay at home in case we need you. Because if we lay them off, then they have a 15-day clause where they can say, yeah, we're not going to show up for 15 days. But if the
Oh.
railway, if we need you and we can't move trains because we don't got conductors, it costs us a lot of money to not move trains. So they pay them to stay at home. Usually we have no retention board. Like at the beginning of the year, we were flying, usually we have no retention board and we're hiring 25 conductors every 3 weeks.
Mhm.
That's how fast we've been going. And we lose about 50% because they just don't like the job. But they don't like being on call on that. But we got 108 people sitting at home. You can add that to your 71,000. The numbers are skewed all the way around the world. Everything is, you know what? If the government had a website or had a YouTube channel and they were pouring gravy down their pants, it wouldn't even be real gravy. It'd be colored water. It would be a lie too. It would be, everything is just not the numbers that you think it is. And I think it's way worse than that, the numbers that they are. Because look, we got 108 sitting there. Actually, we're supposed to lay off 40 today at 12 noon. In 25 minutes, we're laying off 40 more guys. So,
Well, here's the next article here, Raven. Here's the next article, buddy. Looney dives as terrible Canadian jobs data worries traders. I'm kind of upset because I had a friend tell me to short the Canadian dollar 3 days ago. He told me I should have done it. I was just out to lunch. But he calls me up this morning. Is like, dude, you should have shorted the dollar. Did you short the dollar? I'm like, no, I was just totally out to lunch. And I know what's going on too. I should have. But anyways.
You know what? If you shorted the dollar, then you would have lost. It would have went the other way. That's the way it works, man.
Yeah, that's true. If it did, it would have gone up and the jobs report would have been the best thing ever happening.
Hey, I wanted to tell you those tent city that I saw downtown was ripped down by the Winnipeg police. They took it down. They went and pulled it all down. The day after I told you, or the day I told you, those were makeshift homes put up by volunteers of it was a ladies' society, and they had help from some other people. They volunteered those makeshift shelters for people that were cold and had nowhere to go, and the Winnipeg police tore them down because they didn't have the right. Well, you can't just put structures up on a boulevard. I understand that, but the police tore them all down the next day.
Well, it's only minus 30 degrees. They should let it go. I mean, if it's minus 50, then they take it down.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's not that cold. It's maybe minus 12 here or something today. But it's getting cold. It was cold the other night. It's coming.
Yeah. Okay, so now jobs. Now I know you understand and know what's going on the bigger picture. What are you going to see in the first quarter? What is Santa Claus going to save Canada's economy now with Christmas on the loom?
It was under, like, I've read it before. It was in my understanding that for every manufacturing job that's lost, like say, and you can say that, say, like, I'm in that boat of having that type of job. You have a decent job. For every decent job that's lost, you lose 4 service sector jobs that are tied to that job.
Oh, we'll never do that. Canada will never do that. They'll leave those service sector jobs pushing pencils and creating glut and bureaucracy. They'll leave those jobs so it won't add towards the job losses. They're going to leave those jobs. Guess what they're going to do? They're just going to raise our taxes to keep these people employed.
Well, I'm talking like waitresses, Home Depot. Like, if I lose my job, I don't buy a TV, I don't buy a toaster, I don't buy a car, I don't, and then it's a cancer, eh? It spreads. And then from them, it spreads. And when they lose their job, it spreads. It's a cancer. What are the three, product economy, investment economy, and consumer economy, and the one is breaking down that affects the others. You can't have unless all 3 are running properly. So,
do you see?
I don't know.
Are we going to have has anyone woken up to this yet, or do you think we will start seeing a breakdown in consumer confidence, or Canadians are resilient? They don't care. They'll just go out and spend. What do you think?
You know what? I gauge it by what people at work say because they're the average, right? They're the 99% that don't really pay attention. So I kind of just watch them and see what they're saying, and I kind of gauge it that way because that's the world that doesn't know, right? It's very few people. Like we're 1 in 1,000. Okay, critical thinkers are at least 1 in 1,000. I don't meet too many of them. That's why I come to your channel. I'd rather be in the company of my own people than talking to people who care what the Kardashians are wearing tonight. So I think that once the people at work are starting to wake up to it, I'm starting to hear murmurs and that, like, man, things are getting shitty. I hear them talking about the protests, around the world. So I don't know what news feeds they're watching in that, but they're starting to pick up on it. I know CNN and them are not giving them the full. They can't be getting everything from there, because what are they going to get?
CNN is still on the air?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I thought the Clown News Network would have shut down after being, I guess, bait and caught so many times spreading fake news.
I go for breakfast all the time with buddies from work or whoever. We go for breakfast at our local restaurant, and these guys, it's a Greek restaurant. They have great breakfast, but they have this big screen TV, and it's CNN 24/7, man. All I watch when I eat breakfast every day is the impeachment. I don't hear it because the volume's not on, but I can see it and I'm reading it, and it's the impeachment. Who gives a shit about the impeachment?
Dude, remember that episode? Remember that video I did? I'd rather watch reruns of Who's the Boss than watch the impeachment.
Exactly. I'd rather watch the Weather Channel. Remember that?
Oh, God. Okay, now, question. Stephen Pelosi steps down. Is that a surprise?
No, his 7-year term is up in June. He's done. And that, what's her name? Christine Wilkins, I think her name is. That's his number 2. He's been grooming her. He's been grooming her since he started in 2014, 7 years. Yeah, I think it was 2014. He's been grooming her. He shares the spotlight with her all the time. That lady is going to be the next governor of Bank of Canada. So you got her, and then you got Christine Lagarde over in the ECB. They can sync up their Menzies and bring down the world. You didn't catch that, eh?
Yes, I did. I caught that. I heard. I'm paying attention to everything you're saying, dog. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We are live right now, and we are live. Okay, stepping down now. Looney taking a dive. We've been seeing this coming for a while. It's just, I'm concerned because this video I did 2 months ago during the elections again. Why wasn't anyone woken up to that when they created Canada creates jobs and then wait a minute, they're all public sector jobs. Now what are they going to do? Are they going to hack those 44,000 jobs they started 2 months ago now to keep up?
Hey, the U.S. does the same thing. It's job creation. It's the easiest way to create jobs, right? Just like the printed.
Hello? Guys, we lost the Raven. We lost the Raven. Let's see if we can get the lazy elf on the show. Oh, there's the Raven back.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem,
like
buddy.
I said,
no problem.
They're creating those jobs because it's the easiest thing for them to create, okay? Yeah. And the U.S. does the same thing. It gets their job numbers up. It's just like when they print the money in the States and they give it to the corporations. That's easy money, cheap money, 0% interest. That goes right into buying stocks.
It doesn't even go to the... See, back in the day during I think it was the Eisenhower administration, a lot of money that was created at that time, it was very hard to create money at that time, but when they did, it actually went into the workers' hands.
These governments are taking the point of least resistance.
Yeah.
So are the corporations. Is it easier to buy your own stock and raise your stock price? Or is it easier to build up your company, hire people, train them, build it up bigger? No, that takes too much work. Free money goes into malinvestment. That's where it goes.
Yep.
And it always will.
And with the deregulation of all the banking systems and deregulating all the laws that were put in place since the time of, when was the time? Since Woodrow Wilson, now we're screwed.
Well, you know what? They pick a president for what they want to do. Clinton, corrupt. Get us in the World Trade Organization. You know, there goes your middle class. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And and that was probably pushed by a majority of people that were in America lobbying him to get him to do that. How much money? If we knew the whole story, we would sit there. We would probably need a doctor to stop us from going into heart failure if we knew the whole story.
Of course.
And then Bush, we needed Bush because he's not that bright and he can do things that other people probably weren't willing to do, you know. And Trump, I'll tell you something, Trump, he should win an Oscar. That guy is the best. That guy is doing exactly what he's told, and he's going to, and he's fooling everybody. Like, well, not everybody, but he's fooling a lot of people. That guy's a genius. I think Trump is actually a genius. That guy, and not for just the way he acts. He's a genius in acting and talking. And he's got everybody fooled. He's just, My Chia Trump is not doing so well. Just watered it.
Give it some water. Give it some light. Okay, Raven, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna see if I can get someone else on the show real quick here, and we'll see if we get our one of our new guests that comes on from time to time, Lazy Elf. We'll see if we get him on the show. Okay.
You should poll some of those people in the room. You got to get them on the show.
Yeah,
there's some longtime guys in there that haven't phoned in.
Yep. We should get everybody in the comments at least one time to call in at least.
Okay. All right. Okay. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. Have a good one, Raven. You stay out of trouble and let us know. Give us updates on what's going on the ground there, eh?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
All right. God bless. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. We don't know. All right. We got Owen. We got a lot of people here. We got also the Lazy Elf here. Let's see if he picks up.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
Okay, no problem. Lazy Elf is unavailable. He is probably busy. Let's see who else we got here. Oh, he's messaging me. He's probably working, and I'm just, I'm here. Are you live? Yes, I am.
Hey, did I answer you?
Yes, Lazy Elf, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Mike. What's
we
up
are
today?
live right now, and it's very important live right now because we are discussing the job losses, of course, and the actual numbers are coming out. Well, how factual they are, we don't know. And it goes back again to this video I did 2 months ago during the election. Canadian job growth positive, dollar surges, and then I said at what cost. And with Canadian dollar surging and with yields of blockbuster jobs data, and I kept telling people those are public sector jobs to ignore it, but they didn't. And this could have swayed the election vote. And this now puts us into a position of uncertainty. So what do you think? What do you think in your opinion?
Well, I can't refute that public sector jobs are a cost borne on a country. I am not a public sector worker. I have family who are. And I can tell you there's a vast difference in the way a non-public sector worker thinks versus a public sector thinker. Mm-hmm. And now, not all public sector jobs, I guess, are golden parachutes or have golden parachutes. But it's sad to see that we're adding so many public sector jobs, and then the government is bragging
right
how successful they are at launching jobs. And what I was disappointed in is that even the opposition party is not saying, hey, they're public sector jobs, because it's a bind. If they say that, then they won't get votes. Now, I sat in Ottawa among a bunch of public sector workers, and I interestingly listened to the conversations, and they told me directly that public sector workers only vote Liberal. And they only vote Liberal because they grow government. And as soon as the PCs get in, they shrink government. So it's a real bind. It's a real challenge, and I have concerns. I have concerns about that, where things are going to go. So eventually, it's a cycle, and I think that PCs will get in again. They'll shrink government, and then it'll cycle back the other way.
Right. Now, we are in a point of desperation. Now, my question to you is Santa Claus, is Christmas going to save our economy this quarter, or do you think consumer confidence now, consumer spending is going to be at an all-time low after giving this report?
Well, that's loaded, and I'll explain what I mean. I walked into a store and bought on a what do they call it, Cyber Monday? I bought a $99 luggage, like a really nice piece of luggage. Probably would have cost $200, $300 normal. And I asked the company, why are you closing the doors? And they said, well, we've got lots of stores, but we're closing 100. We're closing 100 stores because of online shopping. So I don't mind online shopping, but I also like to look at things that I buy. So, when you ask the question about Christmas time, is it going to save, or is it going to ramp things up? I think it's a blip, but it's not it's like retail stores, brick and mortar stores are dying like dinosaurs. Christmas ain't going to solve that. The whole thrust of the younger people, and even people my age, are buying online. So Christmas is a blip. It's not. I don't even think it shows up on the radar screen. People will obviously talk about it, and they'll say, "Oh, it was a good one or it was a bad one." But the reality is, we have to deal with this mix of the fact that all we're doing is just driving UPS trucks around and dropping things off, and then people look at it and say, "Do I like it or not?" and they return it. And meanwhile, people aren't employed in stores, and real estate that houses those stores is going to be looking for new tenants, and it just goes on and on.
Well, speaking of new tenants, let me play this clip real quick here. Insane property tax. I'm going to play this clip here. We played it on Trends in the Housing Market, where Buddy is watched. So here's the clip here.
Protest and one of desperation by the building owner to find a tenant.
So building owner looking for a tenant.
Dropped my rent, as I have no control over the property tax part of it, by about a third.
For would-be renters, it's very tempting.
Small storefront in Vancouver
Uptown.
Uptown.
From interested parties, they ask me what the rent is. Tell them the rent. They're still interested.
And then he tells them the property
tax.
$53,000 a year.
$53,000 a year in property tax.
About $4,400 a month.
$4,400 a month in property tax. That's why you're seeing a lot of boarded up, and that's why the private sector is suffering. But like I said before, on all the Mike in the Nights and all the trends in the housing markets we've been doing over these years, how are they going to flip? How are they going to flip and pay these deficits that these cities owe to the public sector workers that keep the infrastructure going when a majority of them can't afford to live in their own cities and they have to commute? And secondly, how are they going to fund this? They're just going to raise our taxes. What do you think, Lazy Alf?
I think it's a case of governments are chewing off their own paws. I think that's all it is. They're just chewing off their own paws. It's setting up for failure. I mean, you can't have a smooth running municipality without tax base coming in, and you can't have that without people filling up stores on both sides of the desk. The owner of the store who rents the space pays the taxes, and the person that shows up to buy the stuff.
Right.
You just can't.
$55,000 a year for like a 1,200 square foot little slim store with no backyard and no second story. That is pretty steep. And if you're a hairdresser, it looks like an old hair salon. You got to cut thousands, and a lot of guys don't have hair anymore due to the stress they're going through right now.
Yeah, no kidding. So, look, my wife and I laugh all the time because we drive. It doesn't matter what city we go to. Everywhere I drive, if I walk into a store, I come out, I get in the car, and I say to my wife, how do they stay in business? They're in a high cost area where the cost per square footage is really high. They've had to do leasehold improvements to the buildings that they've taken over. I mean, those are in the thousands to hundreds of thousands to begin with, and they're selling T-shirts for $20.
Yeah.
How do you, are these places a front for something else? Like, I really don't understand how businesses are staying afloat. I don't get it. I've been saying that for a long time now. And the experience doesn't change. I don't walk out of places. Well, there's the odd place that's making money, but I don't walk out of the average store and say, wow, I can see why they're in business.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wondered how the piano shop in the mall stayed in business when they don't sell a damn piano. I understand. So are you surprised by this Canada Jobs Report, or is it something that you were expecting?
No, I'm expecting to see worse reports, but I was floored by one of your earlier videos that showed, the rise in jobs being all the public sector, and that can only go on for so long. I remember watching in the debates Trudeau talking about how he added so many jobs. That was a perfect opportunity.
Yep.
Perfect opportunity for him to
pencil
be slammed.
pushers or people in the corner or people learning English jobs. That's it. That's all it is. They do nothing for the infrastructure. If anything, they tie us up, create bureaucracy and red tape. That's all.
Right. Yeah. And I've seen in the States, they just reported, I don't know, yesterday or today, it was like 266,000 jobs were added. But these numbers change all the time. My life doesn't depend on that, fortunately. I mean, it will if my business slows down because there's nobody has the ability to buy my product. But, these things just, they go up and down. People buy on rumor, they sell on news. Like I think, forget the short term, what's going on. The trend, as far as I'm concerned, is set. We've hit the peak. We're full of debt. We have businesses that can't afford to pay their employees. They're shutting down, giving more tasks to fewer people, getting rid of the high expense people, and they're bringing in people that they can pay nothing to. And that trend is only going one way. We're going to be a Walmart world. That's, now the beauty of that is that everything smooths itself out. So as the Walmart world emerges, there'll be pockets of people that demand something different, and they find a way to do that. I've heard you talking about living off grid. Like, not saying that's the option, but some people will have the money to demand boutique type stores that bring in proper products and services at a good quality, and then they'll be able to thrive. So it's just the masses will continue to go through getting employed by the government or getting employed by a business that's growing, and then being let go by those same entities when things are not good. And we're in the not good phase right now, it seems.
Yeah. And that's the trouble we're seeing here. And I think a lot of people are still zombies to this. I think a lot of people are not acknowledging what realistically is happening. And that's the scary part. You see, again, and I'm going to keep bringing this up, during the Eisenhower administration, a lot of the money that was invested into companies went into the hands of the workers because they knew that the workers will have to consume, pay their rents or their mortgages, and have to, live. And knowing that your employee could afford to live, knowing that he's going to come to work feeling well, come to work in good spirit, knowing that he has some sort of a future to look forward to. Now, what our future's going to look bleak for the average Canadian now, or what's going to happen?
Well, there's a few things running through my mind as you speak that I could respond to.
Go ahead.
One is the last 2 seasons that I've driven across Ontario, 3 seasons that I've driven across Ontario from where I am to another part of Ontario, 5-hour drive. I would drive through multiple communities. And each one of those communities, I would say, is trying to add a third of their homes in new development, whether it's residential homes or if it's low rise. And I drove through Oakville, down at Trafalgar and Dundas.
Yep.
And they literally, no joke, in the beginning of the summer, I went north, and I came back in September, October. And there was a city at the corner of those two streets that extended back on both sides quite far. I don't know how many thousands upon thousands of units they put in there. That city was complete 2 months later. It was a city within a city. Now, every single city I drove through was the same. And
I was in Toronto a few months back, and under some sad circumstances, but I saw it too. I was driving up that area because I have family that lives in that area in the Third Line, Trafalgar, Bronte Road areas, and those areas were never developed like they are now, and it's out of control. So same thing with Cambridge, Ontario, Burlington. Everywhere I was going was just built to the tits.
Ajax, Whitby, Ottawa, it doesn't matter where you go. Barrie, it doesn't matter. The small towns all the way through there to Orangeville, same thing. So the thing that I'm seeing though and questioning is these teams of tradespeople they must be like massive corporations that bring in thousands of people that provide these trades, and those people have to move on to something equally big as a project to stay employed. That cannot continue. It can't continue. No. And so there are going to be a lot of pogey for guys that are skilled in trades that have nothing to do.
Yeah, like I said, the people that want to be productive can't be, and that's the sad part. And for a majority of people that don't go into zombie-tosis, they're just going to move south to the United States and find something there.
So here's the thing. So we're based on this growth model. So last time we spoke, we talked about how good it was back in the 80s, and growth is great when you're starting from scratch.
Right.
We are diseased. The world is diseased with growth right now. It's our biggest spur, in our heel. Like it is showing up everywhere as a problem. So think of all of that growth, and forget just jobs. Think of all the pollution and the garbage that people are throwing out. It's all about consumption, right? We got to get over ourselves, and I don't know when that's going to happen, but we're setting ourselves up for a topple, and we don't learn our lessons.
Right.
I think that's what I was trying to say the last time when I said my life has been good, but the decisions that are being made, in that perspective, it's based on this blind feeding the growth, the companies at the top of those new cities that are developed and those 50 condos that go up every day in Toronto. There's companies that individual companies make millions of dollars. The small guy is still the same. He's hired and then fired.
Right. And there's no job growing within a job. Like I'm talking about back in the day, somebody would start at the ground floor sweeping and they'd work their way up to management if they really wanted to. Now it's just hired and fired, back and forth, revolving doors. And that's what I asked, is the future looks bleak for the average person.
Yeah. And people they're strapped. They're strapped to their desk or to their car payment or to their house payment, and they have to go and make those nickels just to stay ahead. And that's all that's being offered is to the masses is nickels.
Yeah.
And the costs have gone up through the roof. So I don't know how it's going to iron out. I don't have a clue. It could go any direction. I don't know what kind of rabbit they're going to pull out of a hat.
Well, the unemployment premiums are going to go up off people that are still in the private sector. They're going to go up so they could basically fund all this unemployment. Taxes are going to go up. Back to the video that Owen sent us the other day. Property taxes, $53,000 a year. $4,500 a month in property tax. That's just absurd. That people cannot survive off that. They cannot survive. So we're gonna start to see, and let me tell you my little damaging effect that's been damaging me too, is since the Trudeau won the election, the day after or the following first of the next month, that followed the first of the month, I'm not allowed to ship into America anymore. I used to be able to ship letters into America, put a stamp, and mail it out. But on the Canadian side, they scan it now to make sure it's only a letter. I ship these magic cards, like these cards like this. I ship them all over North America. Now, my problem is now I can't ship no longer to America. With our weakening dollar, I can make a fortune working from home, right? But I can't do it anymore because now I got to pay $14 as a convenience fee to ship anything.
Well, what is there enough margin in there for you
Nope.
to stick them in a pick and pack facility in the States?
Because I would sell this for, let's say, $8 US, right? I would pay my $2.80 stamp, and I'd still kind of come ahead about $2 US. But I'd sell a couple of hundred of them a week, right?
Yeah, right.
So the problem is now I can no longer ship to the United States because now they want to charge me a $14 convenience fee just to ship it without tracking.
What's your margin on that? What's your cost in your margin?
Oh, it depends. It's very hit and miss. It's very kind of lottery. So I have my cards here. I've opened them. I've been opening boxes and stuff, and I've been finding cards, and I've been going through my old inventory. I do sell well in Canada, but unfortunately, I'm not doing well now that I'm not shipping. So I basically lost about $3,000 to $4,000 a month in not selling to the U.S.
But if you have $3,000 to $4,000 a month, is net or is that just total sales?
That's gross, yeah.
Gross. Okay.
Yeah, that's a month I'm losing on not selling to the U.S.
But what would you gross 1,000 off of that? Or net? What would you net 1,000 off of that?
More, like 2,200 maybe.
So isn't there room in there to find
there isn't
some?
Because they're individual items and they're individually it would be realistically good for me to just put the $1.75 or $2 stamp on it. Now anything going to the U.S. that even fits, because the rule was if it fits through the mail slot you could put a stamp. But on the Canadian side, we no longer do that. They actually scan the letters to make sure it's a written letter or a typed up letter or there's nothing in it.
Right.
So I can't send a card anymore like this. It's really sad and it's really depressing that we can no longer benefit off a weak dollar and help people working from home. And there's a lot of people that have voiced their opinions that work from home and they do ship to the U.S. and keep our economy, or not keep our economy, but when there's 22,000 people complaining about what I'm complaining about with this whole shipping thing, this is 22,000 people that are complaining that they can't benefit off a weak dollar. This is damaging to Canada because this is a little economy that keeps my food store open, that keeps my clothing store locally open and my shoe store open.
Yeah. There should be ways for Canadians with a low dollar to have the support of their government or municipalities to make their businesses fly selling to the Americans. I absolutely
Well, they're
agree.
shutting that down quick in a heartbeat. I got to pay $14 now. Before, I'd pay $1.75 or $2 for a stamp and to be on its way to California. Now, I got to pay a convenience fee of $14 with no tracking.
Right.
So,
yeah.
it's not worth it. So I'm just kind of throwing...
Too, I was just going to say, keep in mind that Canada Post, high cost business, they're under pressure to raise their rates all the time. There will be no end to it. I ship with Canada Post. There'll be no end to it, and there's nobody else to go to.
Well, the problem
Unless
is they're giving the free shipping. Canada Post is taking the loss off of the free Amazon Prime shipping. So when they're shipping via Amazon Prime, if it's shipped via Canada Post, they got this huge discount deal where it's not even worth putting the gas in the truck.
Look, I sell on Amazon in both countries, and I don't have a clue how these Amazon Prime companies that sell a bar of soap can afford to ship it to you and then take it back.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't do that with my product, and fortunately it's, knock on wood, I only get a few returns, but I watch what happens with my younger family members. They buy 3 things a day and they send back 2. And then next week they send back the one that they didn't send back. Like and somebody's paying for this, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so I didn't know it was Canada Post that was taking a loss to do business for Amazon. I didn't have that.
All of them do. Anyone that ships for Amazon have this huge... Remember Donald Trump had a speech a few months back where they're going to stop allowing China to get cheap rates on shipping?
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that was brought into the effect against the once if Trump implements that or brings that back on the table, it's over for China because now they can't ship to the average consumer in Canada buying a capacitor to fix his television that's realistically worth 80 cents, but he buys it for 50 cents and gets it shipped for free from China.
Right.
Yeah, so we're screwed. We're screwed. They're doing everything for the little guy to have to basically flip or keep it going for the big corporations or establishments.
Well, look, we'll never be out of jobs, Mike. You and I will always have to file our HST and PST.
Right.
That's a job for us.
Yep, that's a job in its own. I got to pay an accountant. I got to, I just paid my PST the other day. It's a job on its own. I got to do what I got to do, just to, and then Amazon doesn't pay taxes, right? So it's like, what did they think is going to happen with all these job losses in Canada? These job losses shouldn't be a surprise with the service sector, and they even pointed out here, service sector and goods producing sector and goods selling sector are all pretty much in the pits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Lazy Elf, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to I thank you very much for coming on the show on short notice and being here with us. It means a lot to me, buddy.
Next time my phone rings, make sure it's about 5G, my man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about 5G. We'll do a video. We'll do a video, I promise.
Okay.
Take care,
Ciao.
bye. All right, guys, I have to log out now. I want to thank everyone for coming on the show. I got 44 people messaging me to call in. Unfortunately, 43 people, actually. I got to go open the shop. It's shop time. Guys, my channel might get hacked on the 10th. Go to the other channel providers here that I'm on right now. Let's go to, look, Super Joe. It's Super Joe Biden. Okay, my channel. Guys, I need you guys to say, to go on, I'm on BitTubers here. BitTubers is like YouTube. Get over there, you'll find me, the Mike Martin's channel. Look, I got 28 subscribers, and I don't care if I even get 100. You know why? My channel, my videos are actually getting views on here. They're actually seeing me, right? Okay, you could also go on Brighton. I'm still waiting for my views to go up to unlock. Let me log in. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. If you go on Brighton.com, I need you guys to go on my videos and watch them because I need another 217 views to go before I'm allowed to upload more videos. They want to make sure that people are watching my videos, which they are, and they're posting me there on their headlines, so I'm a headliner, which is good. And anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you can get on any one of these platforms, I really, really, really recommend it. I'm also on BitChute, but the problem with BitChute is it's problematic because, look, I upload videos and it doesn't work. So it's a lot of work to upload on BitChute, and then most of the time the videos don't work. All right, guys, I'm going to be uploading this video later to other platforms. Don't forget to watch it on replay. Don't forget to share this, get this out there. I really appreciate and if you guys want to get on Patreon, guys, get on Patreon and donate $1 a month. And we can just talk about what's happening in your neck of the woods. And that's how it works, guys. Here I am on Patreon. I got 22 supporters. My goal is to get to 25 by Christmas. I know I said 20, but I just want to be realistic here. $1 a month, guys. I know we're heading through tough times. There it is, Patreon, guys. Get on there and support the cause. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm off to work. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good, blessed Friday.